Hello, you absolute lovelies. Let's talk all about Alien Earth Episode 5. This is going to be full spoilers for Episode 5 and everything that came before it. This episode took a very interesting turn. It is a prequel to what we have so far in the series and recontextualizes so many of the characters and kind of makes Morrow a protagonist for this one episode, which I think is going to set up some interesting things for the final 3 episodes, which I think are going to act as kind of a third act to this structure. So very interesting format. A lot to say about this episode. If you're new to this page, please hit that subscription bell. We are on our way to 100k. We just passed 50k. We're on our way to 75k, then 100k. We're gonna keep going, but I cover movies and TV and lots of comic books on this page. So if you like any of the nerd sphere in the genre content lens, please hit that subscription bell. Also press like on this video. It helps the algorithm. And most of all, let's have a conversation in the comments below. I want to talk all about Alien Earth. Let's talk about episode 5. This show has continued to impress me. I think 1 through 3 were so strong. 4 dipped a little for me, and now it's come back in a big way with episode 5. Using Morrow as a reluctant lead in this episode is fascinating. He's been our antagonist for the rest of the show, and now we've humanized him a lot. In the first 4 episodes, we humanized him slightly, acknowledging he had a daughter, giving us a little sense of who he was, but he's been very stiff and stoic and robotic, and he's got a, bionic arm. So it has been a very curious thing to have actual synths, hybrids, and humans, and this dude that felt as stiff or stiffer than a lot of the synthetic folk in this show. And now in this episode, we find out the extent of his relationship with his daughter and his relationship with WEYLAND YUTANI and his relationship with the crew, but it establishes why he's so stiff and sterile, but it doesn't quite make him good, because he's still a guy that's manipulating children to get what he wants. He's still a guy that is sacrificing the human crew for these actual demonic creatures, these weapons, and everything is for the WEYLAND YUTANI bottom line. And that's been a commentary since Alien began, but in this case it is the human side of WEYLAND YUTANI that he is kind of appealing to. He is the first person we've met that is directly tied to the human element of it, as he was literally saved by the current WEYLAND YUTANI CEO's grandmother, an original or earlier WEYLAND YUTANI CEO who took him in and raised him and took care of him. I still think they probably had something to do with his daughter's death, because that is what WEYLAND YUTANI is, an evil, corrupt, giant corporation. But it was really interesting to see even a brief blip of a human element in him and in WEYLAND YUTANI. And I think seeing all of the characters that we'd met as corpses get time was fascinating. Like, these were just bodies to us, and I love when long form serialized content can recontextualize something like a body you find in a horror movie on a maze or a haunted house. Like, you don't think about that person's experience before you got there because you're so busy running and scared. I love when you can have something like serialized content that can jump before in time. Of course this ship had a captain. Of course this ship had another crew. There are so many people in Cryo. We get to meet them and live with them and care about them so quickly. Very impressed at how much we loved this doctor and her bad choices, and the other doctor we met that just wanted to save him, and how they bit it, and we got to understand how their bodies got that way. We immediately care about that opening dude who is, gossiping, and he's childlike, and the 2 mechanics are wonderful. We get to see the sheep eye in a human and how intense and grotesque that is. I also love that we get a bit of prequel for the aliens on the ship before they grow, right? We get a very sperm-like pore, and to see those tick creatures come out and how they become these crazy lecherous heart suckers, and we get to see it in a different format. Alien is so fascinating because it goes from, face hugger to implanting to chest burster to xenomorph. We now see different bits of metamorphosis from these other aliens. We get to see the octopi grow and evolve, and how smart it is, and its relationship it had with the doctor human in that scene. It tried to save her only to, manipulate other things. I just really love how well written and articulate and intelligent the aliens are, and then we get to see the one actually fight a xenomorph, how fearless they are, how it doesn't care about its host body because it can just change hosts, but also that these aliens wouldn't get along either. And I love all of this happening as this ship careens to Earth. I really like the format of having 4 episodes end on a cliffhanger and then have this really big moment of prequel to this, and then now we've had a little bit of time to breathe in the fact that, like, no, this is Alien Earth. Just now, in the third act, are we going to get this Alien Earth experience? But now we care about Morrow. Now we have a little bit more data on these aliens. Now we cared about these dead shipmates a bit more. It really makes the show breathe, and I really dig it, because this way, we got to love our leads so much. We got to love all the Lost Boys and Wendy, and we got to be confused and impressed by Cavalier. Like, he's so charming and magnanimous, and to find out he was the one that actually caused all of this to start shows that he was never as invested in his full time, at least, in the hybrids as everyone else wanted him to be. He has always had two plans running simultaneously. Even while the hybrids were being developed, he was actively planning this, because we saw the traitor, the saboteur, and I was so impressed that, you know, this guy, this boy genius, has been planning this to land exactly where he needed to take on WEYLAND YUTANI, to sculpt all this, which gives us even more villainy in his character in a prequel episode. Very impressed overall with the writing of the show. I really think what they've done growing out the world of Alien is some of my favorite stuff I've seen from a studio acquisition. I don't know that we would have gotten this from Fox. I love what Fox did with the Alien movies, but I definitely am an Alien 1, Alien 2, and then the rest happened kind of guy. I think Prometheus is great. I love Alien Romulus, and that was Disney taking over. I love this Alien Earth show, so I'm really happy with what they've done to kind of reinvigorate this franchise, and I really think this world building is something special. I hope the show gets to go multiple seasons. Noah Hawley has said that this is a show that has a map out well beyond season 2, 3, 4, and this episode really shows the depth of what you can do, and we're just now getting to Earth. So that's my overall thoughts on the narrative. One of the cons of this episode was I definitely felt like the chase between the ship's captain, the new captain, the female captain that took over, and the xenomorph, that did kind of undermine the xenomorph lore a little bit. Like, I don't think she would have gotten away. I would love to have it been like injured, or some line of dialogue, or some way she was able to escape it for as long as she did. That was one of the moments, and there's not been many for me where I definitely, you know, had to suspend disbelief about the xenomorphs. I've seen some comments on other, you know, please comment in this video, but I've seen some comments on other episodes that I've reviewed of people saying, like, the xenomorphs have been neutered. I haven't felt that. This episode, I did feel that a bit. So that was an element I didn't love. Plenty I did love about the other aliens, but that xenomorph fight was like, meh. That said, it did look awesome when they had certain angles and they used its you know, terrifying nature. There's a practical shot where I think they mounted the camera looking down, and they were able to make the actor in the xenomorph suit crawl down and then up a wall and out, and there was a blind cut, and then you had Morrow come in. That sort of thing. I'm loving the practical. I'm loving all that. I just think narratively the xenomorph chasing for as long didn't feel like the terrifying xenomorph from the past. But that's really my only negative with this episode. I'm really excited to see WEYLAND YUTANI in Earth in next week. I'm really excited for this third act. I think we're going to get like a 6, 7, 8 as one big final arc. Now we get to find out what's going on with the Lost Boys. They're getting a lot of questions. My ship of Theseus metaphor, wondering how much of the person is there, if it's their mind, what is the original pieces, how much that matters. Really curious what happens now that we have a little bit of compassion and empathy for Morrow. Not a lot, but a little bit, because of where this episode was placed as we go into this third act. So a lot is still left on the table for these final 3 episodes that I do think are going to feel like one beautiful last arc, and I hope this show does well enough to get more future seasons. So what did you think of this episode? I personally really was endeared to the mechanics. I thought they did a great job. I thought the cast did a really good job immediately being likable, and the writing was great, so we really cared about these characters quickly. Thought they did a good job manipulating how I felt about Morrow. Thought the little appearance by Cavalier reminded us how fascinatingly charming of an asshole that guy can be. But yeah, lots of great stuff. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of episode 5 of Alien Earth. See you next week for more Alien Earth. I'll see you in between then for more Peacemaker. I will see you in between then for more comic book coverage and any news that breaks. Lots of stuff in this channel, so please subscribe, comment, like, press buttons. See you soon. Hope you're digging it as much as I am. Bye all.